Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawalah wa ba'd. What we'll be doing now is taking a few questions that came about after some of the Ramadan lectures. I'll just do a few questions per clip, inshallah. So let's begin. The first question I have is, if a woman gets her menses during the day or has a baby and starts postpartum bleeding during the day, can she break her fast and make it up, or must she wait until Maghrib to break the fast and then make it up? Alright, so here if a woman is menstruating, well, first of all, she starts off the day and she is fasting. But then she begins either a few minutes after Fajr or a minute or two before Maghrib, or at any point during the day. If she begins her menstruation, then her fast is automatically nullified. Her fast is automatically nullified. The same thing if a pregnant woman happened to be fasting and then she gave birth, after which she has postpartum bleeding, then upon that happening, her fast is nullified. Therefore, she may eat and drink from then until Maghrib. And that day has to be made up. So it's not a matter of choice that she may choose to break her fast. No, her fast is automatically nullified, and therefore she has to make it up later on. And as long as it's nullified, then she has a valid and legitimate excuse to eat and drink. But of course, we would recommend that she does not do that in front of others, out of respect, because they would be fasting. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. The next question is, if a woman finishes her menses in the morning, can she start fasting right away? Well, that depends. If you're saying the morning, then I'm assuming that you mean after the time of Fajr sets in. If the menstruation ends after the time of Fajr sets in, then there is no fast for her on that day, but rather she will begin fasting the next day. Having said that, she will take her bath, her ghusl, and for that day she will have to pray and do everything else. But as far as the fast is concerned, then in order for it to be valid, she should not have been menstruating even before the time of Fajr has set in. Okay, so and the next question is, if a woman finished her menses but delayed ghusl, that is taking a bath, and the time of Fajr comes in, can she fast? Alright, so once again, if the menstruation ends before the time of Fajr sets in, then she is obligated to fast that day. But in order for her to begin her fast, she doesn't necessarily have to have taken the bath or the ghusl. It may be that her menstruation stopped and she woke up and she has a short period of time in which she can eat, and then the time of Fajr will set in. So she can go ahead and eat and drink, that is, partake of the sahur, that meal. She can eat and drink, and then once the time of Fajr sets in, she can take her bath then, and then she can pray Salat al-Fajr and continue her fast. Okay, so this is not an issue at all. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Okay, what acts of worship can a woman do during menses or postpartum bleeding? Well, what we need to understand is, if a woman is menstruating or she is experiencing postpartum bleeding, it does not prevent her from worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All acts of worship are open to her with the exception of a very few. For example, she may not offer the salah. As a matter of fact, it is haram for her. It is impermissible for her to offer the salah while she is menstruating. And so for her not to do so is what is rewarding, because she is obeying the command of Allah Jalla wa Ala. The same thing with fasting. Her fasting, there is no fasting for the menstruating woman, and therefore by her not fasting while she is menstruating, she is obeying a command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these two she cannot do. Of course, she was in Mecca and she wanted to do tawaf. These things also she could not do because she has to be in a state of ritual purity in order to be able to carry out those acts of ibadah. As for the recitation of Quran, then there is some debate among the ulama or the scholars as to whether or not a woman who is menstruating may recite the Quran. If one wants to be on the safe side, we say, all right, do not recite Quran. However, we have to be fair and understand that there are among the ulama who said that a woman who is menstruating may recite the Quran. Okay, she doesn't touch it, but she can read it from an open book. She can turn the pages with some sort of a barrier. She can read it off a computer screen or off her smartphone. All of this is permissible. And by the way, touching what is written on the screen of the computer or the screen of the smartphone, this is all permissible because that is not real writing that is in front of you. In any event, all acts of ibadah are still open. And remember that any act that we do, we should think about what we are doing and try to intend it to be an act of worship. So if a woman is cleaning her home, if she is cooking meals, all of this can be considered ibadah or worship if she has that intention in her heart, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward her with that. Her asking about her parents, about her family members, everything that a fasting person would be doing, a woman who is menstruating as well can do, with the exception of the few things that we mentioned. So we should not think that because a woman is menstruating, she is deprived of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Doing dhikr is for everyone, a person who is menstruating or not. Reading beneficial books, reading even tafsir of the Quran, all of these things are permissible. Giving sadaqah, there are just umpteen dozen types of ibadah that a woman who is menstruating can do. So there's no fear, there's no reason to feel that you're unable to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that state. Rather, make use of the time. It is valuable time, whether you are menstruating or not. These days of Ramadan and these nights of Ramadan are very blessed, and so everyone should take full advantage of them. Don't think that, because I'm menstruating or I'm experiencing postpartum bleeding, that I'm on vacation and there's no Ramadan for me. No, it is Ramadan for you as well. Do everything except for those very few limited things that the Sharia does not allow you to do. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.